Hey everybody, Johnny Cage here, welcoming you back to another game review. This time we're taking a look at Forager, developed by Hopfrog and published by Humble Bundle, released April 18th, 2019 on multiple platforms, including the Nintendo Switch, which is the version I will be playing. In this open-world adventure title, you play as a Kodama-looking fellow dropped onto a small island, left to your own devices to farm, craft, and dare I say it, forge a world of your own. Getting things started, the game gives you a bit of a push in the right direction by telling you that you should go ahead and build a furnace, which you can find in the build menu. Also here you can find recipes for building structures related to industry, farming, economy, and magic. You can also conveniently pin a recipe to the main screen, which is quite useful for when you're looking to craft more than one of the same thing at a time. Once that's completed, you're left to mine away at the various resources that will be randomly spawning on your tiny island. Every time you blow up a rock or chop down a tree, you'll earn a bit of experience, which will not only provide you with the items needed to continue building, but also help you to level up, which creates a rather addicting gameplay loop. Accessing your gear menu will give you a look at this game's skill tree, or skill square as it turns out. Here we have 4 different quadrants that, similar to the building menu, are broken up by industry, foraging, economy, and magic. Clicking any of these will give you a bullet-pointed list of what upgrades it will provide, and confirming a selection will unveil the adjacent skills around the one you choose. With 64 skills in total to unlock, you can certainly build out your character in a number of different ways, though the game does want you to be fairly balanced, at least in the first half or so, since almost essential building recipes and skills are locked away in each area. Next to the experience meter, you have your 3 health hearts and a stamina bar which will slowly deplete as you perform actions. If this gets too low, our friend here will give us a warning that we should eat something, and if you happen to leave it on empty for too long, you will take a hit of damage. It won't take long for you to really build up your plot of land, and when this happens, it's time to purchase some more. Using the buy land menu will prompt you to buy an adjacent island, assuming that you have the coin for it. And while you might think that you're just going to be acquiring some more land to expand your operation, these tiles actually add a fun surprise element to the game by usually including something of interest along with them, such as an obelisk or shrine, as well as NPCs that will give you minor quests to complete if you so desire. You can also sometimes spawn a mini puzzle, which once completed will spawn a treasure chest that will have an artifact that you can discover, which will grant you a passive bonus. This additional land will also prompt the appearance of enemies, and while they aren't particularly hard to manage, they can still catch you off guard, leading to a game over. At least these aren't too frustrating to deal with. The game does autosave often, but it does boot you out to the start screen, which seems unnecessary. The game also offers a number of feats which are basically just achievements. These will grant you a minor aesthetic change that can be made once you discover the wardrobe. There is certainly a lot of enjoyment to be had with just building up your own little empire, and I do really appreciate that every action in the game gives you some experience, which helps to quell the monotony of so much resource gathering, but there is actually an endgame to all of this. Buying up more and more land will eventually unveil temples spread across the different biomes of the world, and man do these really crank up the puzzle solving to 11, and I have no problem admitting that I needed to look up a walkthrough for a couple of them. Persist through these mind-melting puzzles though, and you will have completed the game, so to speak, and if you've had your fill of your current playthrough, there are other options for you to explore, like a speedrun challenge where you try to achieve every feat as quickly as possible, or hard mode where everything is a fair bit tougher. This game certainly never leaves you with a lack of what to do next. It is really easy to get sidetracked on your way to completing a particular task, though if you aren't really sure what to do next, you are always on the safe side crafting more coins to buy up more land, and making sure that all the structures that you have available are built. You're also going to probably want to increase your inventory ASAP, as you don't have a lot to work with at the beginning, and picking up the skill combat early on can also be a big help. You won't need the sword for quite a while, but doing the extra damage to plants and rocks will really help gathering what you need more quickly. And believe me, there will be plenty of resources to gather and cut your way through. It is nice that most of the time you won't be struggling to find what you need, but there were more than a few occasions where I had to make a path to get to where I needed to go. The controls for our little friend are simple enough. They have been pretty well optimized for user friendliness when it comes to navigating the menus. Opening up the inventory will allow you to place any item on your toolbar at the bottom of the screen, which can then be cycled through with the L and R buttons. ZR is your action button for whatever it is that you have equipped at the time, and A will let you interact with whatever is in front of you if possible. The right analog stick will allow you to perform a tactical role, which is a somewhat odd inclusion for this game, as most enemies can be pretty easily avoided, but it does at least help you to move about faster. And if the game is zoomed in a little too much for your taste, you can adjust that in the options menu, which you are likely going to want to do once you have bought up a few land tiles. The game sports a pixelated look with a very lively color palette, making it easy on the eyes and featuring enough animations and unique character sprites to keep the experience feeling varied as you play through it. The audio is similarly engaging. It doesn't have especially catchy music, but it does have sound effects to accompany just about every action you take. giving off that sense of accomplishment, not unlike playing on a machine in a casino. The designer really knew how to keep the player wanting to play just a little bit longer. You can pick up Forager on the Switch for $20 American with a file size of 171 megabytes. This is a game that at a glance you would assume is another Minecraft clone, and I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. The first half of the game certainly does play in a very similar fashion. The standout feature here are definitely the puzzles. I have only briefly touched on them, but they really do make the game much more engaging than most of this genre, without forcing you to have to complete them if you don't want to. One minor issue I had was with how long it took certain items to craft. Any game of this sort is going to require crafting to take a moment, but here I found it could really take quite a while. Though I suppose you could see that as a great reason to pick this up on the Switch instead of elsewhere, since you can quickly pop the game on, throw something in a furnace, and then come back to it a few minutes later. Good news is that this is a passion project from a single-person team, with developer Mariano Cavallero having put their entire life savings into making this and then some. Which means support for this one probably won't die out anytime soon, with news of a multiplayer update planned for release in early 2021. I'm going to go ahead and give Forager 8 bottled torch bugs out of 10. There are a couple other open world crafting experiences that I would recommend before this one, but the price is right for about 14 hours of gameplay, with challenging puzzles and a ton of skills to unlock, making it worth picking up if you love this genre and are eager for more. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you would like to stay posted on new game reviews as I upload them, please click the subscribe button, as well as checking out the link in the description below for my Twitch channel where I stream most days. I'll talk to you all later on.